Hey guys, welcome back to Keith's Hot Takes. And on today's show, I'm going to recap how both of Winston State's basketball teams did at the CIAA tournament. Then I'm going to get into who I think should win ACC Player of the Year. Also, talk about who I think should be on the Defensive Player of the Year list. And I'll also talk about a coach who I think should get a few votes for Coach of the Year, even though he probably won't win it. And then I'll break down the big Duke versus North Carolina game, where it will be Coach K's last home game in Cameron Indoor Stadium as he is retiring at the end of the season. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first, I'll talk about our Lady Rams. I was really disappointed and heartbroken for them. I really thought this was going to be the year that they finally break through and win the CIAA. Some reasons why I think they lost. Well, first off, seeding in these conference tournaments is everything. Matchups, who you play, and when you play them is everything. And I think that considering that our Lady Rams did not do good on the road this year, they were 3-8 away from the game center. And they had some bad losses down the stretch at St. Aug, 69-68. At Clafkin, they lost 73-61. And to end the regular season, they lost at Livingstone 72-56. And coming into that game, Livingstone had not won a divisional game. And that game kind of gave Livingstone some momentum. And they made a run to the semifinals, and they lost to Lincoln, who also beat Winston State 70-66. But when I look at it, the Lady Rams, they went through a lot this season where they didn't have their players for some key games, whether it was injuries or COVID. It just seems like they really struggled to, put it all together. And I think that not having Amaya Tucker, which is our best player, one of the best point guards in the CIAA, she rolled her ankle really bad at the end of the St. Aug game, and I don't think she should have been in the game. I think she should have been on the bench getting ready for the big showdown with Lincoln, but for whatever reason, she was in the game late, and she rolled her ankle real bad, and she could only play 3 minutes against Lincoln, and that really hurt us, not having her because, she's a bucket getter, she's the leader, she's the heart and soul of our team, so not having her really hurt, but Talia Burns and Brooke Spalding, they really were huge. Talia Burns, she hit some big shots. I hate she got hurt because I don't think she made a three after she had kind of fallen backwards really awkwardly. She was able to come back in the game, but, I don't think she hit a three once she came back in the game. And then Brianna Brown, for them, she just took over and she could not miss. So I really hate that for our Lady Rams because I feel like if they could have won these 3 games, who knows, they could have went in as a 6 seed, maybe a 5 seed. Who knows? And then they had some home losses that they shouldn't have lost to, like Virginia Union. They lost to them by 3. They lost to Bowie in overtime by 1. I'm still upset I didn't get to see the end of that game. The stream went out. The Lady Rams, I know they wish they could have back, where it could have helped their seeding. And maybe they don't have to deal with Lincoln to maybe the semifinals or the championship game. And that could have made a huge difference. So we'll have to see. They're going to bring some pieces back. I'm not sure Amaya Tucker, her status, because she was a redshirt sophomore because she had got hurt, the previous 2 seasons. And they had cut her season short. So I think she's technically a junior. So I would love if she could come back with the pieces that we're bringing back. And what we're going to add in recruiting. I think maybe the Lady Rams could maybe break through next year. We have to see. But, I was really hoping that they could get that first CIAA championship title. And I knew that would have meant the world to them. So I know they'll bounce back next year and they're going to come in, and I know they're going to, try to make history next year. Our men's team, they finished the season 19-7. Only lost 3 conference games. That was really impressive. Won another division title. This is back-to-back division titles for them. They also struggled away from the CE Gain Center. They went 6-5 on the road, and they were 3-2 on a neutral court. Uh, and they just, for whatever reason, they could not beat Lincoln this year. They lost them 3 times. The first time was at the Chris Paul Invitational right before Thanksgiving, and then they lost to him about 3 weeks later in the middle of December, right before Christmas. And then Union unfortunately ended our season last Friday, and they beat us 71-59. You know, it's just some seasons a team has your number and it's nothing you can do about it. I really find it weird that we win the division and we don't get rewarded for that. We come in as a 3 seed, and it's just weird. From my understanding, because we split with Fayetteville State and we only beat them by, I think, 1 or 2 points, and they beat us by 12 at their place. That came into play a point differential. And it seemed like they didn't really focus on division wins as much as overall conference records, because we only lost 1 game in divisional play, but we lost 3 overall in the conference. And somehow, some way, Fayetteville State got the #1 seed, and they won their first CIAA championship since 1973. So congratulations to them. But yeah, this men's team, they were special, man. We had a lot of great pieces on this team. We're gonna bring a lot back. I'm excited to see our freshman backcourt of Samaj Teal and Isaac Parsons. We got potentially 3 more years of them, and that's gonna be good for us and scary for the rest of the CIAA. So far, we're bringing in 2 dogs into next year's recruiting class. We got Jeremy Dixon from Kingston High School. We saw what happened the last time we got a guy from Kingston, Isaac Parsons. He's been phenomenal for us. He had a lot of big shots this year, and he was clutch. And then we're bringing AJ Thompson in from Cape Fears Community College. He's kind of going to replace Javante Cook, Cameron Campbell. We're really going to miss those guys. I hate we only got 1 year with those guys because they were so huge for us, and they, were phenomenal this year. And I hate we couldn't get them, to the playoffs and make a run at the Division II national championship. So yeah, like I said, we're really gonna miss those guys. I look forward to seeing how Coach Hill, addresses the front court, because that was a problem in the Virginia Union game. Osborne, we could not deal with him. I think he had 15 or 16 points, 12 rebounds, and they really just dominated us on the glass. And rebounding is all about want to. Like, how bad do you want it? Because one thing that I think hurt us is that we want to play small. And Virginia Union, they had a lot of size. And although they were much bigger than us, that really doesn't mean much. If you go in there and you want to, get the rebounds, and you want to fight, and stuff like that, and, not let them dominate us the way that they did on the glass and stuff like that. A prime example of this is my high school, Winston Prep. Shout out to those guys. They're 2 wins away from going to another state championship. Salute to those guys. The other night, they were playing this school, Bessemer City, in the Elite 8 of the high school playoffs. And Bessemer City, they had the size advantage and all that. But Winston Prep, their guys, they do a great job of gang rebounding, and that's where everybody helps out on the boards, everybody contributes, because Bessemer City was way bigger than us. But, we still found a way to dominate on the boards, and I think our tallest player is like 6'4", and they had a guy I think was 6'6", 6'7", and we were just dominating them because, like I said, it's all about want to. Like, how bad do you want it? So salute to my Winston Prep Phoenix. Good luck to those guys Saturday as they travel to AC Reynolds and Asheville for the regional championship against the #1 seed Hayesville, who's 26-0. And I know those guys are going to bring that regional championship home, and then they're going to go try to win another state championship for the city. And so once again, good luck to those guys. But back to Winston State. In all their games against Union, they struggled shooting. And I know in one of those games they had way too many turnovers. And then the last time they played, which was last Friday, they started off hot, 11-2. I thought we was getting ready to blow the doors off of them. And then Union started tightening up on their zone, and we stopped moving the ball as much as we were to get that lead. And I don't know why. Javante Cook, he really couldn't get going because every time he touched the ball, they would swarm him. He still hit some big shots. But I think what we should have done was have like maybe Jonathan Hicklin or somebody, go to the free throw line, and then they distribute from there. And, the key when you're facing the zone, like what Virginia Union runs, which is a 2-3, they'll trap out of it. They'll do all type of different things out of the 2-3. You have to keep the ball moving. You can't let the ball stick because that helps them. So maybe if we could have got John at the free throw line to facilitate. I know that's something that North Carolina likes to do whenever they play Syracuse, put somebody at the top of the free throw line, and, you're able to work the ball around and you're able to dish the ball and stuff like that. So maybe if Winston State could have did that, maybe that could have helped. But yeah, it's just a really unfortunate end to their season. I thought this team had a really strong chance to go back-to-back, and I thought they could have made some noise in the Atlantic Regional, and who knows, could have made a deep run in the postseason. So coming into the CIAA tournament, they were sitting at 13th in the Atlantic Regional rankings. The top 8 make it, and then the CIAA, they get an automatic bid. The winner of the tournament gets an automatic bid to the playoffs. So since Winston State lost in the semifinals, I don't think that they could have climbed into that top 8 with them losing to Livingstone. There was some controversy in that game. I know Javante Cook, I kind of wish he didn't go for the dagger dunk because, he started running without the basketball, and he unfortunately traveled. And then we didn't get the foul call at the end when they smacked Isaac Parsons' hand on the three-point shot. He could have had a chance to go to the free throw line and hit some free throws that could have put us over the top. So, yeah, it's just really unfortunate with that loss. I don't think that helped us. So we would have needed to be in the top 8 before we went to the CIAA tournament to not have to win it to, get into the playoffs. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to come up short of making the Atlantic Regional, and we'll have to try again next year with the guys we're bringing in, and, we'll try to, get our crown back. So we have to see. So moving on to our next topic on today's podcast, who should be ACC Player of the Year? I've seen a lot of people, debating this on Twitter. I've seen it during some ACC games recently. So our 3 candidates: Alondis Williams, man for Wake Forest. He's averaging 17.3 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, and he's averaging 5.2 assists per game. So man is going to be the first player to lead the conference in scoring and assists. So he has that going for him. And also, considering how bad Wake Forest was last year, 6-16 in the pandemic year, that's kind of hard, with all the circumstances they had to go through and all the stuff they had to go through last year. They bring him in, they bring LaRavia in, Walton. Wake Forest really turned their program around. They were picked at the bottom of the ACC, and man is a large part of why they've had this big drastic turnaround. And I can't remember the last time Wake Forest was this good. It's been a long time. And then we got Paulo Banchero. He's averaging 17 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game, and 3.7 assists per game in conference play. And then we have the guy who I think should be the favorite, and I feel like this shouldn't even be a close race. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a huge North Carolina fan. I know you said I got my Hill House shirt on. Shout out to my Hill House group chat. But the numbers Armando Bacot is putting up in conference play are ridiculous. He's averaging 17.2 points per game and 15.5 rebounds per game. And did I mention he's had 3 20-plus rebounding games in conference play? So the numbers Armando Bacot is putting up in conference play, I haven't seen in a long, long time. And I know recently it came out that he broke Tim Duncan's rebounding average that was set back in 1997, 98, that season. Tim Duncan was averaging like 14.1 rebounds per game that year. And now Armando Bacot is leading that category for a season with 15.5 rebounds per game. So we'll start with Alonnis Williams. Like I said, he's going to lead the conference in scoring, and he's going to lead it in assists. And like I said, that's never been done before. Let me find it. He has 5 double-doubles so far in conference play. And he's a huge reason why Wake Forest had this big turnaround. And I think he's going to get some votes. How couldn't he? He's been phenomenal in conference play. He's put this team on his back. I think they're going to make a deep postseason run. They have a lot of seniors on this team. So I look forward to seeing how far they can go. And shout out to Steve Forbes. I think he's going to win the Coach of the Year. I think Coach Davis for North Carolina should get some votes. Look at what he's done. People wanted him fired after they got off to that bad start. They had got blown out by Kentucky, Tennessee. They lost to Purdue. Things started off really rocky for this team. But, he's weathered the storm. They got a double bye. They're going to either be 3 or 4, depending on what they do Saturday against Duke. So I think although Coach Davis won't win the award, I think he should definitely get some votes for what he's done in his first season in North Carolina with all the expectations on him. When you coach at North Carolina, it's a lot of expectation on you to do well. So salute to Coach Davis. He's done a great job, and I'm hoping we can get that big dub Saturday at Duke. We're going to talk about that very shortly. I just felt like I should throw that out there that although Coach Steve Forbes will probably win the award for the drastic turnaround he's had at Wake Forest, I thought I should mention that Coach Davis should get some votes. And we'll move on to Paulo Banchero. He's averaging 17 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 3.7 assists per game in conference play. He's done really well. He's had 7 double-doubles in conference play. And, he's a huge reason why Duke has won the conference for the first time since 2010 outright. And Paulo may get some votes, but I think it's going to come down to Alonnis Williams and Armando Bacot, who I'm about to get into now. Like I said, the way Armando Bacot is dominating this year is just ridiculous. He's averaging 17 points per game, like I said earlier, and 15.5 rebounds per game. These numbers should not be taken lightly. This team is hard to deal with, and when he's been aggressive, getting other teams' front court players in foul trouble, that bodes well for us. And I think now that he's in the paint by himself and we've got 4 shooters around him, I think that's why Mondo has had these numbers that he's putting up this year, because basically we're playing 4 out, 1 in, and that's really helping him this year. All right, so I thought I'll pull it up so I could show you how crazy Armando Bacot has went during conference play. So in the game against Louisville at the beginning of the month, he had 19 points and 22 rebounds. Then we go to another game. He had 29 points and 22 rebounds against Virginia. Let me pull up one more. In a recent game against NC State, he went bonkers. He had 28 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 blocks. So, like I said, I don't think it should be close. I think it should be unanimous that Armando Bacot is ACC Player of the Year. I think he should get some votes for National Player of the Year because the numbers he's put up this year, I can't state it enough. It's historical, and it should not be taken lightly. So I'm not just saying this because, like I said, I'm not just saying this because I'm a North Carolina fan. If I was a fan of any other team and I see these numbers, I would definitely vote for Armando Bacot as ACC Player of the Year. And I think it's very, very disrespectful that Leaky Black is not getting any votes for Defensive Player of the Year, because I've seen it too many times that Leaky Black will lock up the other team's best player. Uh, and whenever you go against Leaky Black, you might as well just know you're going to have an off night, because, he's going to shut you down. He's really going to get after you. And I've seen it too many times during conference play where a team's best player will go into that game hot and Leaky, you don't hear from him. So if Leaky Black does not win Defensive Player of the Year, something's going to be seriously wrong. So, yeah. So to close out the show, why don't we talk about the big game this weekend, North Carolina versus Duke, Coach K's last game in this rivalry. North Carolina has went 19-22 at Cameron Indoor Stadium during the Coach K era. And since that loss to Duke, North Carolina has only lost one game since that game. They've won 6 out of their last 7. They really seem like they've started to put everything together, which is scary. Right before ACC tournament play, and of course the big tournament. Some of my keys for North Carolina: Armando Bacot, he can't get in foul trouble. He has to dominate against Mark Williams, because I feel like a couple of Duke fans, they kind of tripping thinking Mark Williams locked Mondo up. I think when you're sitting on the bench for a long time, basically the whole first half, he struggled in that game because he couldn't stay out of foul trouble. I think it was a mistake to open up the game with him on Paulo. I think Mondo kind of wanted that assignment, after what Paulo had said about North Carolina's basketball team, basically calling them soft. And Mondo kind of, I guess he wanted to show Paulo that we ain't soft and we ain't one of them, so so I think we should keep Armando and Mark Williams. I think that'd be best for him. And like I said, he needs to dominate and get Mark Williams in foul trouble, because Duke is not the same when Mark Williams is on the bench. And also said Caleb Love and RJ Davis need to play better. Looking at my stat sheet here, Caleb Love was 3 for 10, 1 for 5 from 3. He had 4 turnovers. RJ Davis had a pretty decent game. He was 4 of 11, 0 for 3 from deep. He had 11 points. But whenever our guards are playing good, they're hitting their shots. They seem to be really engaged on defense, and they seem to be really locked in. So we need them to play better. We can't ask much more from Brady Bird. He had 21 points, 6 rebounds. And yeah, he gave us all he had in that first half. And if it wasn't for him, that game probably would have been over at halftime. And yeah, getting some production off our bench would really help. I really like what Puff Johnson brings off the bench. He brings a lot of energy. He does all the dirty work for our team. So I'm hoping he can get some minutes. And lastly, we need to find somebody to deal with AJ Griffin. As I look here at my stat sheet, he had 27 points. Leaky Black really locked up Paulo. I know it says he had 13 that game, but Leaky Black really kept him quiet. Paulo was really struggling with Leaky's length and size. So I definitely put Leaky on Paulo again. We just need to find somebody that can slow down AJ Griffin. That's easier said than done. He's an athletic freak. 6'9", he can shoot the 3. And yeah, he can do it all. So I don't know if we try to get Puff Johnson or maybe Dontrez Styles, who's an athlete like AJ Griffin. He's a little smaller than AJ Griffin, but he can definitely jump out the gym. Dontrez Styles, we've seen time and time again this year. And he really goes after it. He really gets after it. So maybe Coach Davis, tries to get him some more minutes to deal with AJ Griffin. And I think if we slow down Paulo and we slow down AJ Griffin, I like our chances. And especially if we're hitting our outside shots and weather the early storm. Duke is probably going to come out on fire. And, that's a good thing we've done in the month of February. If we have a slow start, we don't, can it, we don't mail it in. We keep battling, we keep fighting. And I'm hoping that's what we do. If Duke kind of gets off to a good start, I'm hoping we can get off to a good start, really put them on their heels, kind of quiet the crowd. It's going to be an emotional night. It's Coach K's last home game. So if we do all those things, I think North Carolina will win. And I'm hoping we can win so we can get that third seed. And, like I said earlier, seeding is everything. And if North Carolina can get the 3 seed and not have to deal with Duke until maybe the semifinals, or excuse me, it'll be the championship game if they get the 3 seed. So not having to deal with Duke until maybe the championship game, I think that could be better for North Carolina. So we just have to see. If they lose, they'll get the 4 seed. But regardless, they get the double bye. They don't have to play till Thursday. They don't play till Thursday. Which is going to be huge. They'll come in well rested. So yeah, we just have to see. So that does it for today's episode of Keith's Hot Takes. Thank you guys for supporting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you want to. And I'll be back next week with a March Madness preview. And hopefully I'll have a special guest on the show to help me preview March Madness. And we'll have fun with that. So I'll see you guys again next week. Peace.